Hello friend. I want to tell you about the Skoda Superb car. The car was built on the PQ46 platform, which was also used in the Passat B6, B7. The engines are placed transversely and almost all have 4 cylinders. The only exception is the V6 variant, in practice VR6. The front suspension is a classic McPherson with replaceable bushings and pins. At the rear there is a multi-link system. Some versions of the car have 4-wheel drive with a Haldex multi-plate clutch, which connects the rear axle. The car uses start and stop technology, hydraulic before the facelift and electric after the facelift, power steering and adaptive shock absorbers. Skoda Superb engines. The range of engines includes everything expected from such a car. From the base petrol engine 1.4 TSI, 125 HP, which by the way works well in the Superb, because the largest engine is 3.6-liter V6 FSI, 260 HP. The golden mean was to be petrol engines 1.8 TSI, 160 HP, and 2.0 TSI, 200 HP. The diesel range still included the 105 horsepower 1.9 TDI engine, but only until 2010. It was replaced by the 1.6 TDI with the same power from that point on. A similar change occurred in the 2.0 TDI engine. Also in 2010, the PD version, 140 horsepower, was replaced with common rail, 140 and 170 horsepower. After the facelift, there were no engine changes apart from the addition of the start and stop system to the diesels and the 1.4 TSI unit. The Superb was equipped with 4 types of gearboxes: manual 6-speed, classic automatic with 6 speeds, and DSG automatics with 6 and 7 speeds. 4-wheel drive was only configured with the 1.8 TSI, 3.6 FSI and 2.0 TDI common rail diesel engines. Which engine should I choose? Without taking into account purely technical issues, i.e. assuming that we buy a car in good working order, almost all engines are good. The exceptions are 105 HP diesels, which have poor dynamics, but at least they burn little fuel. According to reports from AutoCentrum users, on average a liter less, about 5.5 L, 100 kilometers, than the 2.0 TDI. However, one must be aware that the Superb weighs at least 1.5 tons and in such a configuration is rather suitable for leisurely or city driving. The best engines are 2.0 TDI. They have the right power and burn an average of 6.5 L, 100 kilometers. They are very easy to service, and if necessary, you can easily buy a used engine. The popularity of these engines is so great that there are no worries about their use. Common rail versions were available with both manual and automatic transmissions, and optionally with 4x4 drive. Very good dynamics are offered by the 1.8 TSI and 2.0 TSI petrol engines. The latter in particular impresses with its flexibility and relatively low fuel consumption of around 9 L, 100 kilometers. The 1.8 TSI uses slightly less fuel, but the difference in dynamics is significant. One of the arguments for choosing the 1.8 TSI is the 4x4 drive, which was not available with the 2.0 TSI. The 3.6 V6 unit is rather an offer for enthusiasts of large engines. High fuel consumption, at around 10 to 11 L, 100 kilometers, much more in the city, is not fully compensated by the dynamics. Although the performance on paper looks better than the 2.0 TSI engine, in practice there are not such big differences. Both cars are equipped with an automatic gearbox as standard, but this V6 also has 4x4 drive. Typical faults. The biggest bane of the car from the beginning was its faulty engines. The bad opinions about them are fully justified, but the passage of time must be taken into account. It is not worth basing your knowledge on guides written, for example, 5 to 8 years ago, because those engines that were supposed to give up the ghost have already done so. Some have replaced them, others have repaired them, and still others have undergone modernization, improvements with new parts. That is why the Superb II can be assessed better today than shortly after the end of production, and in my opinion one should not be guided only by engines. The 1.8 and 2.0 TSI petrol units from the EA888 family and the 2.0 TDI-PD diesels were considered to be faulty in the first place. It later turned out that the TDI-CRs were not flawless either. The cars currently in use are most likely already improved. The pistons and rings had to be replaced in the TSI. In the TDI-PD, the cylinder head usually cracked, but they no longer crack. In the TDI-CR, on the other hand, the lubrication system, specifically the oil pump, was problematic. It is an open secret that the 1.8 TSI engine marked with the BZB code did not have faulty piston rings. This engine met the Euro 4 standard, so it was quickly replaced, in 2009, with a design marked CDAA and CDAB with faulty rings. The fact is that it is very difficult to find a car from the initial production period, so it is assumed that all 1.8 are faulty. It happens that the intake manifold cracks in the engine or the flaps located in it fail. The oil separator membrane may be damaged. There are also known water pump failures, so it is worth checking the fluid level. Virtually all of the above comments also apply to the 2.0 TSI engine, which is a twin design. The difference is that this engine was not modernized throughout the entire production period and there was only one version marked as CCZA. In the 1.4 TSI engine, the timing drive had to be replaced, which could stretch after 30 to 40,000 kilometers. It is unlikely that you will currently find an engine in which it has not been replaced. In addition, after the facelift, the chain and the entire drive were modified, and the engine turned out to be very successful. Replacement parts cost from about $200 for the chain, slides and tensioner alone to about $400 if you buy a complete set of all elements. Users praise the engine for fuel consumption below 8L 100 kilometers, which is a great result. And it doesn't lack verve. The 3.6-liter V6 engine is in practice a VR6 design, i.e. with a single cylinder head. It is generally reliable, but if neglected for a long time, it may require more serious repairs. It is most sensitive in the area of cooling and lubrication, so the key to long life is frequent oil changes and an efficient cooling system. This engine has 2 timing chains, but these are not overly complicated elements. Direct injection is not an obstacle to the installation of an LPG system with a petrol injection system. Now let's move on to diesel engines. The 2.0 TDI-PD, code BMP, is considered to be the most defective, as it had a cracked head. Those that were supposed to crack did crack. Only in very neglected units can this still happen. The problem was the fuel injector mounting, which was improved in the BKD engine with a 16-valve head. This diesel is as durable as the older 1.9 TDI designs. The problem of the earlier 2.0 TDI and the later ones with common rail injection, 170 HP version, was the faulty design of the oil pump, which had to be repaired and checked from time to time. Necessarily when replacing the timing belt. After the facelift, which took place in 2013, all 2.0 TDIs had already had corrections that made them very durable and less reliable. The 1.9 TDI engines with the BLS designation are known for their DPF filter problems. The problem was solved by users taking matters into their own hands and getting rid of the emergency device. If you care about the DPF filter and the 1.9 TDI engine, then a very thorough verification of the car may be necessary. The 1.6 TDI engine is theoretically a twin of the 2.0 TDI CR, but less resistant to failures. Basically, it's not worth buying such a car anyway. There are no reservations about manual gearboxes and the 4-wheel drive system. Remember to regularly change the oil in both the gearboxes and the Haldex clutch, and after a greater mileage, intervention in the Haldex clutch mechanism may be necessary. The situation is worse with automatic DSG gearboxes, which without exception work on a double clutch and have dual mass wheels. They sometimes have problems with mechatronics, and after approximately 200,000 kilometers it is necessary to replace the clutch assembly. The most vulnerable is the 7-speed gearbox, combined only with the 1.8 TSI engine until 2010. Its durability until the first repairs is estimated at about 200,000 kilometers. It is worth checking the condition of the gearbox before buying a car by connecting it to a diagnostic computer. If you buy a car from the year 2011, you can count on greater durability of the DSG gearbox, and if the car has been facelifted, then with a bit of luck you can come across a classic Aisin automatic with very good durability. The 6-speed DSG gearbox is more durable and less problematic, but it should be remembered that it is more heavily loaded, higher engine torque, so it may also cause problems during very dynamic driving. The body is well protected against corrosion, and the paint is quite durable, although its condition at the joints of elements varies, e.g. the joint between the rear fenders and the bumper. The worst-looking decorative elements are usually those that resemble chrome. The paint is peeling off them. The same thing happens in the interior, which can look terrible after years of use. This is not always due to great carelessness. The Superb is simply much less durable than the Passat. The car's electrics are quite sensitive, especially the comfort system harnesses. This can cause the rear view mirror or electric windows to stop working, as well as the boot lid lighting or the twin door mechanism. Headlight failures can also occur. Thanks for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and rate my video. If you know any problems with this car that I didn't mention, be sure to write about them in the comments.